Hey everybody, Thesha here with Legacy of Light in conjunction with One Love Wellness Center here in Menasha, Wisconsin, coming to you for one of my 365 days from my heart to yours. And I believe today is almost like 100 maybe, 99. Yeah, maybe we're even over 100. It's where I just made a post the other day about 98, so I think that was 2 days ago. Well, in any case, this is awesome. And today I'm going to share a little bit. I'm going to be doing, it's called the Mindful Life Journal. So, and I just started reading it today and wanted to go through kind of a little bit about mindfulness and some things that I found helpful that I wanted to share. So, it says mindfulness goes against the stream. I think it's because mindfulness goes against the stream. Like a raging river, modern life makes mindlessness the default option. It's easy to go along with advertising that promotes mindless consumption. It's harder to pause before buying to see if breathing is enough. It's easy to get sucked into the scandal and disaster that 24-hour news channels promote. It's harder to pay attention to the effects that the media you consume has on you. It's easy to wolf down lunch without thinking. It's harder to eat with awareness and gratitude. The challenge of living a mindful life goes deeper than simply consumer culture. The drive to be distracted is in our blood and in our brains. In psychology, they say bad is stronger than good. Our biochemical systems are adapted to increase our chances of survival and reproduction. When someone cuts you off in traffic, your body is on the job immediately. Faced with imminent threat, anger can quickly become road rage. Unfortunately, these biochemical systems don't care at all about whether we enjoy our experience. It can take a conscious effort to calm ourselves and to see the bright side of things. Getting control over our minds is hard. So hard that in Zen they call it the monkey mind. Left to its own devices, the mind leaps from one low-hanging branch to the next. To start living mindfully, you have to stop allowing others or your biochemical system decide what you attend to. As Austrian psychiatrist and Holocaust survivor Viktor Frankl said, between stimulus and response, there is a space. And in that space lies our power and our freedom. To bring mindfulness into your daily life, you have to struggle against the ceaseless currents of culture and chemistry. At first, it's hard to make headway at all. Each time you stop swimming, you lose ground. It takes time to build your mindfulness muscles and to enhance your endurance. So the emotions become a big part of mindfulness, and how we deal with it and become better at handling it. It's like putting this in your emotional toolkit. So from both a Buddhist philosophical and a modern psychological perspective, emotions matter. 2,600 years ago, the Buddha identified feelings as one of the foundations of mindfulness. The key, he said, is to know when you are feeling a pleasant feeling and when you are feeling a painful feeling, and to not get wrapped up in them. Watch the feeling arise. Watch it vanish. Take refuge in impermanence. No matter how good or how bad it feels, the emotion isn't going to last. Modern science builds on the ancient advice. It says that knowing something feels pleasant or unpleasant isn't enough. We need what psychologist Lisa Feldman Barrett calls emotional granularity. Having a fine-tuned sense of your feelings can help you experience more of life. The more emotions you can identify, the more tools you have to respond to the challenges you face. Studies have shown that under intense distress, people who experience their emotions with more precision, such as I'm melancholy versus I feel bad, are less likely to binge drink, act out in aggression, or attempt to harm themselves. They're less reactive to rejection and experience less anxiety and depression. On the positive side, emotions such as joy, gratitude, serenity, interest, hope, pride, amusement, inspiration, awe, and love help us to broaden our visual fields. Think novel thoughts, engage in new activities, and connect with others. If negative emotions are the short game of life, positive emotions are the long game. Over time, they'll enable us to accrue resources, become smarter, and stay resilient amidst the constant change. So it says to become granular with your emotions, to take your emotional temperature every day when you wake up. And you can, start a mindfulness journal and just see how you feel in the morning. I feel this. And let all the emotions be. Because, as Buddha talked about, is that everything is impermanence. Everything is change. So we can't just hold on to the good emotions forever, and we can't just avoid the bad emotions forever. These emotions are coming, and sometimes they're coming up just so that you can look at the actual thing that's underneath that in the way that you can let it go then. And you don't have to have that emotional attachment to that because you've lived through that emotion and you're not going to continue to live in that emotion. So, maybe something happens overnight or the night before and you haven't resolved it, so you wake up and you're frustrated and you're angry. And so then you feel those emotions. And as I've talked about before, underneath anger, there's always some other emotion. So, excuse me, you can go into that and say, all right, I feel frustrated. I feel angry. What is actually underneath this? And then you can, whatever the situation, say, well, I'm feeling angry because, this person did this and that embarrassed me. And then embarrassed me, and now I'm afraid that I'm putting myself in these same situations again, and that makes me sad. And again, now I'm angry and frustrated with why would I put myself in this situation again. And you can just go through these emotions and just let them flow and thank them and love each one. Love it. I love you. Thank you for showing me where I'm holding on to some emotion that I don't want to hold on to. Thank you for bringing this up to me so that I can let it go. And thank you for protecting me and using this as a tool to protect me as in the past. I no longer need you. And I appreciate you. And I'm going to let you go. And once we start naming these emotions and having these emotions and living through them and not holding on to them, holding on to that anger because that person just made you so angry. And I do this thing where I play the why game. And sometimes I do it to people around me, like my children and such, and they get annoyed. But you ask why. You just keep asking why. Okay, I'm angry. Why? And then you say something, and then you say why, and you keep asking why till you get down to the actual reason, and it works every time if you really, keep doing it and just keep practicing it. It can seem like ridiculous or silly, and then just say, sometimes you can exaggerate things to then get to the actual emotion or feeling that you're holding on to that it no longer serves you. It's being brought up so you can let it go and move on. And as I said in the past, like, everything is for our positive growth, and all it takes is our perception and mindfulness about everything that we were doing is going to bring you to a state where, if you've, like they talked about the road rage, it'll bring you to a state where the same thing will happen. And that's not going to bother you. It's not going to cause anger and frustration within you because you have dealt with these emotions. You've looked at the situation and you found out the real reason why that, somebody cuts you off and you start yelling and swearing. You find out the actual reason why you're doing that is just a projected anger of something that you haven't dealt with. It has nothing to do with that other person. It is always us and the things that we need to deal with. So if you practice mindfulness, you play the why game, you can get to some pretty amazing spots of peace. And, once we start naming things, when you name and recognize that emotion, it begins to have less and less power over you. All right, okay, I'm angry. Okay, why am I angry? And then why is this? And then why is that? And then, okay, I see you. Okay. And you can just, go through like that and thank it. And love it and appreciate it because it's brought you to where you are right now. So in mindfulness is, like he said in Zen, it's the monkey mind is always trying to convince us something else, and it's our biochemical reactions to things, and to me, mindfulness is bringing balance to all of that so that we can function and we can let go of attachment to all these emotions. And it even has to do with these, the positive emotions, because everything is impermanence. Everything is change, always. So we know that the good, so to speak, is along with the bad is always going to change. It's not always going to be that emotion. And we just have to enjoy and see each emotion as they are. And to become mindful of everything. And I challenge you to begin a mindfulness practice of, maybe starting with one thing a day. Writing what you're grateful for. Or, at every meal, you focus on the food and you thank it and you realize the exchange that is going on when you're eating. And we're not just like shoving it in our mouths so we can get on to the next moment. And a while back, I did set some alarms on my phone at different times so that I could take a minute to just be mindful and to be grateful in those moments. Maybe just, shut everything else out if you can for 1 minute at random times. And it really helps with that to create, a mindfulness pattern. Because it's something that, we have to work towards, that it is against the human conditioned grain, so to speak. It's going against the survival mode. And we don't have to live in that space anymore. But we have to, be aware and conscious and awake to what is actually happening in our lives. What are we creating? And mindfulness will help you to become balanced in all of that. So in his journal, he just has a couple of different things that you can do. You start every day and you say, I feel, and then go with an emotion. And then this morning, I'm grateful for, and just write a thing or two. And then I will make today enjoyable and interesting by, and also I will help others by doing what? And then at the end of the day, it says, today I was energized when, my energy dropped when, and this evening I'm grateful for. So in 2 times, you're just writing a thing or two that you're grateful for. And it can be anything. And also, when you're starting out, I will make today enjoyable by, pick goals that you can achieve. Don't start off with these things that that you aren't going to do. So it's almost like setting yourself up for failure. And a lot of times, start with these attainable goals, these baby steps to get from here to here, because this is, the same way it works for manifestation. Because if I'm here and I want to be here, yes, you can have your mind on there, but there's all these steps in between before you can become in alignment with that vibration to create that thing. So it's the same thing with mindfulness. Start with some small goals. Ones that, I will do this today to help somebody else. I will, what am I going to do to make my day enjoyable? And then just go from there. And there's a quote by Buddha that says, a mind which is not protected by mindfulness is as helpless as a blind man walking over uneven ground without a guide. So we can be mindful to live in the now. And as always, you are all eternally adored and loved at every moment. And while mindfulness will give you a peace, there is nothing that we have to do or nothing that we have to be to deserve this magnificent love and adoration that is bestowed upon us at every moment. So if you're interested in the explanation of the video, there's other ways to get a hold of me. And yeah, just know that you are loved.